in welcoming the students to the house to check on the proceedings. I know this is part of learning, and as Chair of Education, I want to commend the schools, the students, and the teachers for taking time out to come and show the students how Parliament works, and this is part of the civics or part of history and government. Honorable Speaker, I rise to first of all commend the Chair of PIC, Governance and Education, and more specifically, Honorable Speaker, the wisdom of the House in splitting Public Investment Committee. In last Parliament, Honorable Speaker, it was quite tedious, it was quite voluminous, that this House could not oversight a number of government agencies because of the volume of work. I want to commend you, Honorable Speaker, and the leadership of the House, more specifically on the splitting of PIC into various governance bodies, energy, education, and the likes. Honorable Speaker, as a Chair of Education, I want to commend the Chair of PIC, Governance and Education. If you look at the issues that he has raised, it is quite commendable. That one, a number of government institutions or parastatals are actually not following, especially the PFM Act. And as the majority whip has just put it, it is not in order. And this government does not support inept officers, officers who are not going to follow government procedures. And His Excellency the President has rightly put it, that he wants a government that delivers. He wants a government that holds officers to account. Yes. Let's take, for example, the Kenya National Examination Council building. It was started way back in 1986. Yes. Majority of the members of parliament who are here were not yet born. And up to today, it is not yet complete. This speaks about corruption, ineptitude, and in fact, all the CEOs that have served in the Kenya National Examination Council all through have not been able to complete. We want actually this House to hold those officers to account. We give them funds, and they have to give timelines on when to complete those particular structures. Honorable Speaker, Public Works is a government agency that always has actually been going to bed with many of these officers. Every other time a building which is supposed to cost 500 million has been varied until it is now about 3 or 4 billion. If you go to KICD, if you go to Examination Council, if you check even in the state universities, this is a very big problem. And I want to ask the Committee on Public Accounts, Public Investment, Education and Governance, to really go down. As a Chair of Education, we allocate resources. We want value for those resources. A building that was established, I want to pick a case in Moi University, where we have a building that is what is called a science complex, that was what was started way back in 1990s. Up to today, it is not yet complete. If you go there, Honorable Speaker, you will realize it has costed the taxpayer over 200 million, but nothing to show. That is one amongst many other public universities. And I want to ask the Chair that we really need to move with speed to make sure that there is the mwananchi that voted, that is going to pay taxes, is going to smile all the way to these public institutions, saying, surely, this is the government that I voted for. This is the government that I wanted to be in place. So officers are supposed to be held to account. They are supposed to be responsible. And in fact, where an officer has failed to give documents to show how he has used the funds, and even the ethnicity, the gender, this is one country, one nation, one people. These people are supposed to be employed across board. And I think the President has been in the forefront on this, to make this country a tribeless nation. A nation where you don't get to know who is so and so who is a CEO. You need to have the services of that particular individual. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, on the issue of consultancies, this is where lots of funds have been lost, where you get institutions such as universities, for example, seeking outside consultancies, yet they themselves are actually having technical officers. It defeats logic. that you get a university consulting with individuals outside at maybe a rate of 3 or 4 times, yet they have better consultants within the institution, which they would have actually cut the cost. So, Honorable Speaker, I'll rise to support and say that we really need to do more on this to make sure that there is value for money. We make sure that the resources that the government has put in place, actually the citizens are going to enjoy. And I want to ask that, Honorable Mabonga, you've done a good job, and this is the best job you can do, not actually going to the streets and throwing stones, but you can actually critique the government like that. Thank you so much.
Member for Westlands.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for also giving me a chance to speak on this report. And first, I want to congratulate the committee for having gone through the reports for the financial years up to 2020, 21, I think. Mr. Speaker, listening to the chair as he was moving the report, it just explains